The new Smith Racecraft tube front chassis is a state-of-the-art rigid round tube frame with features like motor plates, making engine changing a snap, lighter weight by 150 pounds, massive header clearance, tons of room for big oil pans, a redesigned suspension making bump steer and front end problems a thing of the past. It comes with rack and pinion steering. You can use stock components. There's no fabrication, it's a complete bolt-on setup with no welding required. And you can install it yourself, as you'll see as we install this system on a 1972 Nova.
Today we're with John Cunningham, National Sales Representative with Kim Smith Racecraft out of Dallas, Texas. Today we're going to install a tubular front end on one of these old Chevrolet Novas. You did this once and were one of the pioneers of this front end when Kim Smith brought it to the table.
It was about a year and a half ago, Al. I had crashed the front end of my car. As you know, the old front ends have a tendency to sag. You can't align the front ends. So I called him, and I knew about this front end in his shop that had been developed maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but he wasn't doing anything with it. So at that time, I said, kind of prompted him to get going. Let's do this. We could sell these things because I saw how nice it was. So he said, okay, bring your Nova down. We'll build a frame just for yours, your Nova, and that's what we proceeded to do. Many of you may have seen it on Hot Rod Magazine. That car was featured in an 8-page article last December, and that's kind of how the ball got rolling. And so now I'm very active involved with Kim, Andy, and the gang at Smith Racecraft to produce and sell this frame.
Absolutely. You know, before we get into the installation on the Chevrolet Nova, let's go down with Nick Tucci from Tucci Performance and find out some of the finer points of this chassis.
First, Al, I'd like to point out all the laser cutting that's been done in this frame to cut weight out in all the places that are needed.
And these are actually the stock body mount locations.
This is right where it bolts into your stock body mount. They come with these aluminum billet body mounts, or you can put in a rubber one if you choose to.
So it would depend on your application. If you run or get serious about drag racing, you might want to use that bushing that's solid aluminum.
Definitely use this for drag racing.
Let's move up to the transmission mount. I mean, you can see how beautiful this tubular front end is. And the transmission mount has been put into the stock location, so you can use your stock transmission mount from your Turbo 350 or 400.
Yep, you can use your stock one, or you can purchase the one from Kim Smith. It bolts right in here. This makes it easier to bolt in and out. There's a lot more room. As you can see, the tubes are the bulkiness is gone from the square frame. You lose a lot of weight by doing this. It's available in chromoly and mild steel.
This being a mild steel application. Nick, move up a little bit and show the guys at home and the gals interested in this chassis a little bit about the next set of body mounts and this unique rear engine plate that has been put in place.
Well, as you can see, the second set of body mounts, also the laser cutting that has been done in all this for weight loss. Then you can move up to the mounting spot where the mid plate will bolt in. The mid plate comes with this kit.
In this application, and it also shows some more great laser cutting in the brackets and the support brackets for that rear engine plate. Now we move up a little bit here, and these are kind of unique. I mean, for a guy at home that's just watching this application video, you wonder what this is. Explain to us a little bit about the Firewall mounting brackets.
Well, it comes with a rod end in here that's fully adjustable. As you can see, I'm spinning it. Then this plate will go against your Firewall after you adjust this, and then you would drill holes through your Firewall and then go in the gutter of the car, which is underneath the cowl, and put this plate back here, and then just tighten it all up together, and that reinforces everything and it makes it stronger. And this is also available with these bars not on the frame for a car that has an existing roll cage that you would choose to tie into this frame with.
Nick, explain to us a little bit to the guy at home installing this front end about these horns. I mean, this is a trick piece. Almost looks like they took it right out of the GM book.
Well, you can see that they've duplicated the horn, the front horn of the stock GM frame. There are slots cut in it already for your bumper, fully adjustable. Your core support will sit right on top of this. There are aluminum body mounts that go underneath your core support, or you can put the stock ones back in there. Then if you move down towards the bottom of the frame here, you can also see where the control arm will bolt into this pocket now. More laser cutting done here for weight loss. Plenty of clearance for your oil pan. You can see that this has all been removed on a stock frame here.
Got rid of some of that bulk like you'd see in the stock location.
Definitely. You have eyelid here for tying down your car and your trailer. Makes it way faster and easier. You're not wrapping stuff around your frame to tie the car down. Then if you move back, we have a rack and pinion steering that comes in this frame from Kim Smith with the steering shaft and all the U-joints. No parts are needed for that. And if you come back even further, you can see that you have plenty of oil pan clearance for them big square oil pans on the big motors. This is where your other control arm bolt is in this pocket here. More laser cutting's been done in this part.
Bring us up through that drive shaft style steering column that goes all the way to the stock location.
This is your steering shaft. You got 1, 2, 3 U-joints. This here, this is where you will cut your rag joint off in your stock application on your car, and you'll slip the shaft in here and weld it or bolt it, whichever you can do.
Nick, show us a little bit about the front end, how it works on this tubular chassis.
Okay, Al, we're going to leave this trick frame and go to the trickest part of this whole front end. These control arms here, as you see here, starts off with a billet aluminum shaft.
Built right in-house at Smith Racecraft. I mean, you can see he's got his name in there, and it's a beautiful piece. And where does that lead you to?
Tubular control arms. Not only does he use the stock ball joints, he has relocated them to change the steering on this car, get rid of bump steer, and you can put 10 degrees negative caster in this front end.
And what does that do for one in his racing application?
It slows down your steering so you don't wander on the track as much. Then if you move down to this fully fabricated chromoly spindle here.
Also another piece available at Smith Racecraft?
Yep, right from Smith Racecraft. Beautiful piece, all fabricated, lightweight, strong. Then he's got a billet aluminum steering arm here, all made in-house at Smith Racecraft.
You know, the arm you're talking about, Nick, it's pretty trick piece, all CNC'd, profiled, and it's all been nicely grooved and manufactured right in-house over there at Smith Racecraft. John, could you tell us a little bit more about the structure of the spindle and the front end pieces on this tubular chassis?
Sure, Al. A lot of this front end was an evolution process. They seem to get better and better and better as we continue to make these. They're pretty much scienced out right now. But one thing I did want to mention about the steering arm, the location of the steering arm in conjunction with the rack is a very critical measurement. We worked at this for a long time so that we could get the bump steer correct, and that's what's probably the most important part about the steering arm. Of course, as well as the strength, but this is a lot more than just a pretty piece. It's really very functional, and the location of where it connects to the rack is probably the most important thing.
Would that be an application that a drag racer would, it'd be to his advantage, to use that?
Oh, not only just a drag racer, but a street racer as well. If you bump steer is exactly what it says it is when you go over a bump, whether your steering wheel has a tendency to move or not. So on a rough track or something, the steering wheel won't even flinch. So that's a real critical part of this whole front end.
What about the spindles?
Spindles are really a work of art. Smith Racecraft developed these probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. They're all chrome moly. They're very strong. This piece, main spindle piece, goes all the way through and welded from the backside. What's really neat about these is they're very light. They're only 4 or 5 pounds. And they're 1.5 inch drop if you desire the car to be lower. That drop seems to be just about perfect. Most of the spindles that are on the market today are cast, and they're a 2-inch drop, which really causes some steering problems. So we've decided that 1.5 inch was just about perfect. And this is just a really beautiful piece. It's painted right now, so you can't really see the welds and so forth, but it's an all TIG welded piece. It's all chrome moly. Very, very strong.
Nice.
And now let's go down and take a look at these lower control arms. John, is there anything that you can tell me about these?
Well, both the lower and upper control arms, of course, are custom. The lower control arm has a pocket developed in it to hold the spring. It's flat.